So in today's class, we'll be discussing solely on how to balance a simple chemical equation. Yes, a simple chemical equation. We have just few examples we want to consider. One of the examples is this: aluminum reacting with oxygen give rise to this. Good. So if aluminum reacts with oxygen, it gives us aluminum oxide. Now, but if you watch the equation, you notice that aluminum appears two here and one here. So, and oxygen here is 3 and this is 2. The equation is not balanced. The chemical equation is not balanced. So, we want to balance it. Our aim is to make sure that the number of aluminum and oxygen on the right side is equal to the one on the left. So, we want to balance it. How do we do that? To do this, we add alphabets to it to enable us find the unknown values. Now, how do we do that? You add our A, small a here, small b, and small c. Now, let's begin. The number of aluminum here is 1. So, we multiply that 1 times A. Okay, so it's just A. That gives us A. Then this sign here, represented by an equal to sign, so now we'll go over to the right hand side. The number of aluminum here is 2. And here the value, the alphabet here is 3, C. So we have 2 times C, which is 2C. So we'll go over to our oxygen. The number of oxygen on the left hand side is 2 with this alphabet here, B. So B times 2 is 2B. We're equal to sign. The number of oxygen is 3. So because this C is cancelling the whole thing here, we have 3 times C, which is 3C. So therefore, this implies that our A, naturally our A stands as 1. So therefore, A equal to 2C is equal to 1, 2C. Where our C alone is equal to 1 over 2. Now let me show you why our C is equal to 1 over 2. Look at this portion of the whiteboard. If 1 is equal to 2C, we divide both sides by the coefficient of C, which is 2. So if we divide this by this to this, we have 1 over 2 is equal to C. So now we got 1 over 2 as the value for C. So that is it. So our value for C is 1 over 2. After we've gotten the whole value for our A, B, C, and our ABC, we'll substitute the value we have to all of this. So now we got our value for C, which is 1 over 2. Now let's go over and solve for the value of our B. We have our value A as 1, which is standard. Now, our value for C is 1 over 2. So what is the value for B? We've gotten this, we've not gotten this. So what is the value for B? Now, we'll have to substitute C. Anywhere we see C in the next equation, anywhere we see C, we put this value here, 1 over 2. So let's go and look for the value of B and then balance the equation. Okay, now let's look for our value of B on the equation. Now we've gotten the number of value for C. Let's go to this in equation 1. Sorry to say, this is equation 2. So we've gotten equation 1. Let's go over to equation 2. So under the equation 2, our aim, so on equation 2, our aim or objective is to find the value for b. That means we've already gotten our value for c, which is 1 over 2. So now let's look for our b value and then substitute to it to these numbers here at the end of the calculation. Now let's see. We have 2b. This implies that 2b is equal to 3. Our c is 1 over this, so times 1 over 2. We have 2b equal to 2b equal to this. There is an invisible one here which we know. So this will times this and this will times this. So if 3 times 1 we have 3 and 1 times 2 we have 2. So this is 2. Now if you want to divide, if you want to look for the value of b, the law is, or the instruction is, look for the coefficient, divide both sides by the coefficient of b. And the coefficient of b is 2. So we divide both sides by coefficient of 2. But that is to say b is equal to 3 over 2 over 2. You may be wondering why I wrote it this way. I just want to clarify something. Now if we divide this portion by the coefficient of 2 of b rather, which is 2, we have something like this. Look at this place. So if we divide it by the coefficient of b, which is 2, we have b2 and we have 2 here. So if this cancels this, we have b equal to 3 over 2 over 2. So let's have about this. But to solve it, this denominator here will times this middle one. It's not going to times this one, but it will times this middle one. So that gives us 3 over 4. So our b here is equal to 3 over 4. So we're getting our value for c as 1 over 2, our b as 3 over 4. So the next step is, just look at the board and look at what I'm going to write. The next step is, now look at this. The next step or the next instruction is to multiply the values by the LCM of the fractions. Which are the fractions? We have our c. We have our c as, look at this. Our c is equal to 1 over 2. Can you remember? Our b is equal to what? 3 over 4. Can you remember? So now we'll look for the LCM of the fractions and then multiply the answer to the values we have. Look at how that one is done. We'll look for the LCM of this and this, which is 2 and 4. Yes. The LCM of 2 and 4 is what? We don't know. Let's find out. If 2 divided by 2, if 2 go to 2, we have 1. If 2 go to this, we have 2. If 2 go to 1, we will put down this way. 2 go to this. So we have only 2 times 2. So our LCM is equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to what? 4. So we'll multiply this 4 to the values, these values here. We multiply it to A, B, and C value. Whatever it gives us, we substitute for our equation. So let's do it this way. We have 4 as our LCM, which equals to 4. Now let's rewrite our values again. Our A, B, and C. Our A is equal to 1, which is natural. Our B from our calculation is 3 over 4. Our C is equal to 1 over 2. So let's multiply the value by the values by the LCM of the fractions. These are the fractions. So after solving for the LCM, we had 4 as our LCM. So we are multiplying 4 to all of these values. That is instruction. So if 1 times 4 and this times 4 and this times 4. Now let's solve it. 1 times 4 is 4. So our value for A finally is 4. B, like I said before, when you have something like this, always remember that there's an invisible one here. So this is something as 1 over 4 over 1 rather. So the same thing as 1 over 4. 4 over 1. But we're not going to write that. So we have to clean it off. But we still know that we still have 4 over 1. That is over 1 under the 4. So this will times this and this will times this. So if 3 times 4, we have 12 over 4 times, so we place it at 4. Then this times this times 1 times 4 is 4 over 2. So we have final value 4 divided by 6, 12 divided by 4, we have 3. And 4 divided by 2, we have 2. So finally our value for A is 4, our value for B is 3, our value for C is 2. So now let's substitute all these values to our equation. Anywhere you see A, you put 4. Anywhere you see B, you put 3. Anywhere you see C, you put 2. Now after that, we'll check if the equation is balanced. So it means that we'll be adding, since we have A here already before, we have B and C. So we have to substitute all of this value into this. So anywhere we see our A, we'll put our 4. Anywhere we see our B, we'll put our 3. Anywhere we see C, we'll put our 2. So let's do it together. So let's assume, let's put the values and see. Our A is 4. That is anywhere A, that's A. Then our B is what? 3. Let's change this and add 3. 3. Our C is what? 2. Good. This is 2. Now, let me write it very well. Okay, yes, this is 2. So, let's now count the number of aluminum here and oxygen here. If it gives us the same number of aluminum and oxygen here, it means we are very correct. Let's do that together. So here we have 4, which is a value for A, and this and this. So now our aluminum here, let's write this ratio of reactant. Okay, so we have ratio of reactant and product. Here is our reactant and here is our product. So now our aluminum is equal to, how many aluminum is here? We have only 4. This one aluminum, so 4 times 1 is still 4. So we have 4 aluminum. This is the ratio sign. Here we have 2 aluminum, but we have a whole number 2 attached to it. So it means that we're transferring this to this, just like we did it alphabetically during our calculation. So 2 times this, we have 4. So our aluminum is balanced. So our aluminum is balanced. Let's go back to our oxygen and see. Our oxygen here is 2. So it has 3 attached to it. So we are attaching this to this, which will have 6. How about here? This is 3. So this whole 2 is starting the whole thing here. So it's just like it is written this way. Bracket AL2O3. Bracket close. So the whole 2 is starting this whole element here. So 2 dancing 3. We still have 6 of the oxygen on this other side. So it means that our equation is balanced. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share.